If you guys are looking for a good checklist on how to unhitch and set up your camper, stick around. This is the video for you. We're going to go ahead and hit the auto leveling button, and it's going to do its thing. Before you open any cabinets, any drawers, the fridge, open them slowly. My coffee mug was up here. It actually hit me in the head and landed on the ground and broke. Hey everybody, welcome back to Why Wait. So today we just pulled up in the campsite and we're about to unhitch and set up the camper. So we wanted to take you through our checklist and all the steps we do to make sure everything gets done correctly and smoothly. Now we've been doing this for almost 3 years now and we pretty much do have this memorized, but I still tell everybody it's a good idea. Slow down, take your time, use your checklist, otherwise you can forget something and possibly make a costly mistake. So let's jump out of the truck here and we'll get right to it. Okay guys, so the first thing you do when you pull in is you want to check the site and get the camper lined up and check for levelness, position. Now we shut the truck off to make the video, but usually we leave the truck running and we get out and we do a walk around just to kind of see. We're going to check to see if the slides come out, if the electric lines up and sewer. That's the first thing we're going to do, and then we're going to go through our checklist step by step and go through the unhitching process and set up. Okay, so you will have to excuse the dirtiness of the rig and truck. We just got done driving through Montana and South Dakota, and there's snow on the ground, so we have salt, mud, dirt, everything on this.
And Wyoming, let's not forget Wyoming.
And Wyoming, yep. We're actually in the Black Hills right now by Mount Rushmore. So forgive the dirtiness of the truck. We need to find a blue beacon, get this thing cleaned up. But so come along with me and I'll just kind of show you what I'm talking about. We'll just kind of go ahead and check the ground to see how level it is, because sometimes even with the auto leveling system, it will lift your tires up off the ground. So if that's a bad position, we'll reposition the camper, or we will put some wood down under one side and back the camper up onto that. But this actually looks pretty good. We'll walk around, we'll check our slide clearances. I have all of my slide clearances. I have how far they come out. I have that written down in my phone in my notes section. So if I have a tree here or the electric pedestal, I can quick measure, because I do keep a measuring tape right in the cab of my truck, so I can kind of come out here and just get a quick measurement. So you want to walk around and don't forget to look up the roof. Make sure there's no branches or the slide's going to come out and hit a tree branch. If you have a satellite like we do, we did camp somewhere one time where we had some power lines coming right above the camper, and I didn't even think about it to check those. And we did raise our satellite, and I noticed it the next day, and I was like, our satellite came real close to hitting those power lines. So don't forget to check your roof clearances too. Walk around, make sure that you have a good distance from your sewer connection to your water, to your electric. Make sure you're not far enough away that you don't have enough length of electric or sewer hose. And we always carry a little bit extra water hoses and sewer hoses, so we can pretty much reach any connection we've ever been to. We do a full walk around, we come over to the other side, make sure the last slide has room to clear, and you always want to make sure that your steps are going to come down in a good spot and have clearance as well. And if you have awnings that you plan on putting out, make sure to check on the awning clearance, make sure there's no trees that the awnings are going to hit. Once we have that all set up, we're going to go, first thing we're going to do is go plug our EMS surge protector into the power and make sure that the power here at this site is good. First thing we do before we even chalk the tires or usually shut the truck off is I will go ahead and plug this in. It takes about 2 minutes. It's going to run through the system, make sure the pedestal is good and that all the electric here is okay. No open grounds or nothing like that. So I want to plug this in, get it doing its thing, and then I'll even check the water pressure and make sure the water even comes on. Because if it doesn't, and you start chalking the tires and putting slides, if you have to go back to the campground, they got to move your spots. You got to go through all that again. So I like to go do those two things first: check the electric, check the water, then we'll start chalking the tires. Okay, now as you can see on this electric pedestal, this only has the 30 amp, not the 50 amp. And oddly enough, I think this is the first time we've ever actually plugged into 30 amp in almost 3 years of RVing. So you definitely want to carry an assortment of what they call dog bones or electrical adapters. So we can plug this into the 30 amp and then we can plug our 50 amp surge protector into here and run it. And what this is going to do is going to go through, you want to get a good EMS, electrical management system, not just a regular surge protector. This is going to go through and check the whole system, make sure everything's running. It's going to protect your campers from power surges and just all kind of things like that. I can get into this in more in depth, but we're kind of just going to go through the checklist of setting up right now. Now, before you go ahead and plug in, always make sure that the breakers are switched off. Flip it on. See, it's going to run through, check the system out. We're going to let that do its thing. We're going to go ahead and test this water here. You want to step back. It's aiming right towards you.
Sure was.
Yeah. Well, we don't want to shoot that too far, but we have running water, we have pressure, so that's good. Gonna let this do its thing. And as soon as I check that, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it back off, and then we'll start chalking the tires and hooking everything up when it slides out. Everything's good with this pedestal, so we went ahead and shut the power back off. We plugged our 50 amp cord into the camper. I do recommend getting one of these nice 90-degree adapters. It just puts less strain on it. If you had this plugged in right there, you're putting a lot of strain on this weight. So this is a nice little adapter. Now I like to go ahead and hook up to power and have the 50 amp or 30 amp going to the camper before I start putting slides and the hydraulic system down. It's just less wear and tear on the battery, I guess you could say, or it's just less power I have to suck away from the battery. If you can hook up first, get the power, and then go ahead and do all your slides and jacks, that just keeps your battery a better chance from it draining or something like that. Pretty much the first thing you do once you decide you're in your spot, the power's good, the water's good, before you shut the truck off and start unhitching, the most important thing to do on our checklist, and it's in capital letters, put your tire chocks down. We all know what happens. We've seen it before. You pull up, you start unhitching, and you lift it up off the hitch. Depending on the hill you're on, there goes your camper. So a very important step. That's why we always go through our checklist. Now, we've been doing this for almost 3 years, and most of this is memorized already. And a lot of times we do go and do it without the checklist, but it's still always good to go back and reference. Take your time, don't rush. I know even sometimes we get away from doing the checklist and we really shouldn't. And you never know when you're going to be in a hurry trying to hitch or unhitch and you're trying to get out real quick and you're going to miss an important step. It happens to everybody.
Especially when your neighbor comes to talk to you.
Yeah, don't get distracted. It's easy to get distracted. I know a lot of times when we're hitching up, people coming by, saying bye and talking to us. And I'm right in the middle of, hitching up and making sure everything's, hooked up properly. And it's really easy to get distracted and miss an important step, like making sure your hitch is secured and all that kind of stuff. So even if I'm not using the checklist as I'm doing the process, before I get in the truck and actually pull out, I will pull my checklist back up and go through it and check everything. And these are really good heavy duty rubber chocks. I don't like the plastic ones. You can run them over, they can crack, they break, they tend to slide on pavement. I do prefer these rubber ones right here. And we will have Amazon links to everything in the video description below that you see us talking about today. Now the cool thing about these checklists, our hitching and unhitching checklist, we use the notes on the iPhone. And what's cool is it's synced between me and Megan's phone. So as I'm checking something, she can be inside doing something and checking something as well. And when she checks something off the list, it's automatically going to show up on my list that she's doing it. That way it kind of corresponds and we know what's going on. Now our unhitching checklist is going to be a little bit different from yours. This is not, not the standard. Depending on what kind of hitch you have, we have the Anderson hitch, which we love. We've been using for a long time. I have a whole video on that, and I will put a link up to that video if you want to go check that out. But everybody's hitch is going to be different. So set up your checklist appropriate for your style hitch. But I will take you through what we have to do with ours. And a lot of it is pretty generalized, except for the actual unhitching from the truck. What we want to do is drop our tailgate, an important step. Another one of those, put it in bold capital letters. Whether hitching or unhitching, always remember to put your tailgate down. Unhook the 7-way connector. We have to open our hitch right here and open that up. We're going to undo our safety chains. We're going to undo the breakaway cable, and then I'll have to fire the truck up. And then we're going to go to the auto leveling system and raise the camper up off of the hitch. Make sure, again, the camper tires are always chocked. All right, undoing the breakaway cable. And one thing I like to do with the breakaway cable, I see a lot of people attach them to their hitch, which is probably in most cases fine. But if for some reason the hitch comes away from the truck, well, the hitch and the camper are going to go. This isn't going to be activated, and your brakes for your camper will not come on. So I actually like to attach the breakaway cable somewhere on your actual truck. So that's just a good tip right there. Again, this is specific to our camper. We have the Lippert auto leveling system, the 6-point hydraulic leveling system. No matter what system you have, it's pretty much the same. Make sure the camper tires are chocked. Make sure your truck is parking brakes on. Everything's disconnected from your hitch, whatever style that is. And then go ahead and go through the process of unhitching your truck and camper. For us, we're going to turn this on. Okay, green light means it's come on. Now, we do have the red Anderson, I believe they're called elephant feet. We call them the red buckets. I know a lot of people use the snap pads. What I love about these, if you want stability and less movement inside the camper, these are great. By the time we put these on the camper, our jacks may only go up that high, sometimes even less. And if you don't have your legs extended very far, that's just a lot less wobble and sway. Now, a lot of times when we're just doing overnighters like we are tonight, we won't go ahead and bother putting these down, depending on how it looks. Now, we have had these for 3 years. I know people talk about them cracking and breaking. Been full-time RVing with these for 3 years. We've never had that happen. I think most of the times when it does happen is we put these down on gravel, and the weight can sometimes maybe the gravel and the different shaped rock can kind of crack this rim here. So if we are going to be on a real gravelly spot, I will put a piece of like 2x10. I've even seen people put a piece of rubber mat that they've cut up underneath these just to create that gravel from pushing on them. Otherwise, I highly recommend these things. They've been great for us. So everything's all set. Double checked, everything's chocked. We're gonna go ahead and raise this up off here. Okay, now for us, the next step with the auto level is, once you've lifted the camper off of your hitch, we have to pull the truck forward and get it out of the way, because a lot of times with these auto leveling systems, the front end of the camper is gonna wanna dive down first. In fact, the front end of the camper has to get a little bit lower than the back end. And if for some reason your front end is on higher ground, when you go to auto level and that front end comes down, if it doesn't go below the rear end, it's gonna cancel out. It's gonna turn into a red light. And depending on your Lippert system, sometimes you can cancel it out from here. Some people can do it with their phones. Unfortunately, we have to go inside, open up a slide to get to the system on the panel. It's a real pain in the butt. And I have to cancel it out. Then I have to re-hitch up, do it again, or I would just have to manually level it. All right, let's pull this truck out of the way. Okay, we have the truck up out of the way. We're gonna go ahead and hit the auto leveling button, and it's gonna do its thing, and hopefully it works and doesn't cancel out on us. And you always wanna auto level before you put your slides out. When this is done auto leveling, the light will be just bright green. It'll stop flashing, and you know you're all level and you're good to go. Don't be too scared. Sometimes you're gonna see this thing really rock left and right and really do some crazy things to get level, but it's okay. It's not gonna tip over on you or nothing like that. Okay, next step, we're gonna check our checklist. By the way, if you guys like the video, we always appreciate if you hit that thumbs up button down there, like this video. Don't forget, hit the subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you always get notified every time we have new videos coming out every Sunday. Now, we're gonna go ahead and hook up our water. I always put a water regulator on here. Sometimes these campgrounds can have way too high water pressure, and that can be damaging for your pipes. So we like to run a water regulator. We have an inline filter. We have a onboard cabin filter, and we've been using these 0G hoses for a long time now. We always carry 2 of them in case we can't reach. We do sanitize these. And if you want to find out a good way to sanitize your outside water hose, as well as sanitizing your whole onboard freshwater tank and your water system, check out this video right here. I go through the whole process that we do as full-time RVers to keep all of our water pipes, our freshwater tank, our hoses, and everything sanitized. So that's definitely a good video to go check out. Now let's hook this up. And what's great about these 0G hoses is they're so flexible and they roll up so nice. I keep them rolled up on one of these power reels right here. These are usually made for extension cords, but it works great for the 0G hose. What's great is I always keep a 4 foot piece of hose attached to our wet base system. So all I have to do is run this down through here. It's always hooked up into there. And then another little nice thing you guys might want to check out is water quick connects. And we just quick connect them right here. We have all the quick connects inside on our black flush. We have them on all of our hoses. Just saves you a lot of time messing with wrenches and stuff like that. Been really happy with those. But that's it. We got the water hooked up. We're going to switch our Nautilus panel over to City Camping, turn the water on. We're going to be good to go. Okay, we'll get these steps down. And sometimes we will have to adjust these depending on how low the ground is out here. Make sure if you do have to re-auto level the camper to never have your steps down, because what's going to happen, the camper is going to move left and right, and you can really jar these steps in the ground. So always make sure those are put back up if you have to adjust any kind of leveling. So let's go ahead and go on inside here, and we're going to put these slides out. We've already checked for our clearances. Now, before I start pushing these slides out, you want to look around inside and make sure nothing fell, shifted, changed. These hydraulics are powerful, and they will rip anything off and break things. We've had a kitchen drawer come out one time, and I didn't quite see it, and the slide grabbed it, broke it. I heard it. We've had a few other things. Sometimes a couch cushion falls, and it gets caught on the slide going out. It can be anything. We try to peek in through here, see what we can see if anything's shifted. We like to make sure these drawers here didn't come out, make sure nothing fell or opened up that's gonna get caught in any of these slides. And just go slow and stop if you hear anything. And a lot of times, just in case, sometimes I will have Megan outside if I'm not too sure about a clearance, and she'll bang or scream at me if she sees something outside that, you know, I need to stop for. So we have the slides out. This is where we turn our electric on, put your AC on, put your heat on, whatever you need to do, start cooling things down, start turning the fridge on. Word to the warning, before you open any cabinets, any drawers, the fridge, open them slowly. In fact, and don't just do this when you first get somewhere. So we got somewhere last night, you know, before we open anything, we were cautious, but the next morning, well, you've been there all night, so you're thinking everything's good to go. Well, we never actually opened this cabinet on the first day. So when I woke up this morning to get my coffee cup, I opened it up, and, well, as you can see, something just fell on me. I should have went slower. My coffee mug was up here. It actually hit me in the head and landed on the ground and broke. And that was the next day, and we just didn't even think about it. So,
and it was like one of your favorites.
It was
too.
My favorite coffee mug, too. I'm excited about it. Because, hey, it gives me a reason to buy a new one. So open everything slow, open the slide slow, open the cabinet slow, just check for everything. Now, Megan will usually come inside. She'll start setting up in here, and we'll get the dogs in here, so she'll start setting everything up. I'm gonna go back outside. I usually start hooking up the water system and the sewer hose at that point. We have a satellite, we start raising that and going through the motions of all those next things to do on our checklist. And another thing I like to do after a long day of traveling, I like to get in my basement. I like to open my basement door, go back to my water connections, check to see if anything is leaking once the water's hooked up. A lot of jostling can loosen things up. We do have water alarm detectors down there, which really help out in case something is. They make a loud noise so I don't hear anything going off, but I still like to go down there and double check. Now while Megan's inside, getting everything squared away and setting everything up and unpacking everything, I do a full walk around. I check my tires again, check my leaf spring hangers, make sure everything looked okay after traveling. Make sure that your slide out seals here have actually opened up and they're not jammed up. So you want to go around, I walk around and check those. And that's pretty much our unhitching process. Now, if you haven't checked it out, we also have a video on hitching up and what we have to do when we break down camp. I'll put a link up to that as well, and everything we need to do to hitch up and break down camp, especially after we've been stationary for 6 months. This is pretty much the process we go through to unhitch the camper and set up, whether we're here for one night or if we're going to be here for like 5 months like we do sometimes. Those are the major steps to go through. It's not going to be exactly like your list. Make your own list that fits your RV type or your travel trailer, whatever you need to do. Like I said, guys, better safe than sorry. Double check your list. Always go around, make sure everything looks good in your hitching and unhitching process. Better safe than sorry. Take your time. As always, we appreciate you stopping by and watching. And don't forget, get out there, start your full-time adventure. We'll see you next time.